Football Friday, let's go. Giant fans, you get back in the game this weekend.
You forget everything I've ever said about the Giants this year.
Really?
Yeah. It's not about the wins. You got to go slow. Okay. It's about building for the future.
Yeah.
Got to get the culture right. You already did all that. This bye week, it's really the bye week, but also just looking at what's going on in the NFL. I'm done saying that the Giants are building for next year and the year after, and maybe Daniel Jones, if they keep winning, is going to be the quarterback of the future because they're going to put themselves so far down in the draft that they can't draft his replacement. Why can't Daniel Jones evolve into the man? Why can't Saquon Barkley, who I said at the beginning of the season was going to be the strength of their team, continue to be the strength of their team? Why can't Kenny Golladay find a way to get it right? It is time. And I think I'm finally got there. It took me a while. It is time for the Giants to raise their expectations and go into weeks like Week 9 against the Houston Texans at home, at pregame party, which will be at it, Red, by the way, at home, and expect to win and expect to dominate because they are just like every other team in the NFL. You have a chance, you should expect to win. So the expectation has got to start rising from all of us. From me, because I'm leading this mostly. Just win one more.
Yeah.
Just keep winning that.
Yeah.
Push it past that.
Here we go.
It's time to get
finally
past it for the New York Giants.
I like it, Barber. That a boy.
And it put itself on its head last night when I watched that horrendous Monday night display.
Didn't waste my time.
A Thursday night display last night. It was just the Falcons.
Didn't watch 1 second.
Who were supposed to compete with the Buccaneers. They lose to the Panthers. Mm-hmm. It was like, come on, what the hell is going on?
That was gross.
It is wide open.
I heard.
The NFL is wide open, and why not? The Giants are sitting at 6-2. Yes, they have a really tough division, as we've talked about a couple of times already, with Philadelphia, who's undefeated, and Dallas, who's 6-2 and getting better. But why not the New York Giants? So this Football Friday, you didn't scream it today, but
actually, I haven't done it ever. I've never done it here.
That's right. This Football Friday, I'm turning the corner on this Giants and raising the expectations.
Well, you know that I'm with you because I turned the corner a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah,
nice to have a little company.
Jets. That was for your Jets.
That was for your boys as well. Listen, I like the direction that you hit me with that of the shoot here, Tiki. And we've got Giant tickets. What are we doing, 11:20 and 12:20, guys? Nice. So we'll give you guys a chance to get in the house. Hopefully everybody had a great Thursday night. It's Friday, obviously. Have a good time, a little extra loose. 877-337-6666 is our number here on Tiki and Tierny. Now, this is why I really like I guess it is a new direction, your newfound emphasis. Let me frame it that way. Football is different, and nobody knows this more than you. Because the NBA, you have a core, whether it's Steph and Clay and Draymond, or back in the day, Jordan and Scottie Pippen and, whomever the third player was. And that obviously fluctuated because they had a couple of different iterations, whether it was Rodman, whether it was Tony Kukoc, whatever. The Celtics with their core, the Lakers with that. The football's different.
Yep.
Every year in football, just look at our teams this year. The Jets have already exceeded their win total, at least from Vegas, 5.5, and going into the bye. And the Giants are miles ahead of where we thought they would be.
Yep.
But don't think for a second that can't flip again the other way next year. So I think that right now you look at this season, and I know it's hard, but as best as you can as a Giants fan, don't even think about next season.
Yeah.
Stop worrying. Not that you're overly consumed with it. Coming into the season you were, I think you've dialed it down. Nice job. Don't worry that much about Saquon's deal. Don't worry that much about Daniel Jones' contract. Don't worry. Just come out and beat a team that stinks.
Yeah, and right now,
beat them bad.
It's interesting because in your mind, you know that things are going to be really good next year. You just know it. They got so much money and salary cap. I think it's 5th or 6th most salary cap space next year. So you can go do whatever you want next year. But forget looking ahead. Forget looking ahead to play. We can't get this team to look ahead to playoffs. So why should we be looking ahead till next season? We should be looking for right now. And it's really, I can't emphasize this enough. The Giants can beat anybody because anybody can be beat in the NFL. There's no team beyond reproach in the National Football League. There's no team that you're saying, well, they're just heads and heels above everybody else. There's not a team.
He's right.
Like
we thought it may have been the Bills. Jets proved otherwise.
Right. And we thought it could be Kansas City, but Kansas City's lost twice already. Maybe it's Philadelphia. Maybe. is Philadelphia, but that's to be determined. They have their own issues to worry about trying to go undefeated, even though I don't know if that's necessarily their goal. But
They're not
whatever.
going undefeated.
But my point is, maybe it's Philadelphia, but other than that, the Giants have as good a chance as anybody to continue this run, win the next couple of games, maybe start thinking about bringing in Odell Beckham Jr. and getting to the postseason and doing something. And it's why not? And I know it's not as exciting as some of these other teams that put up 40 points and a Sunday afternoon, or they have a dominant defense and shut everybody down like the Jets did when they played the Bills. Like, maybe it's not that, but the Giants have a formula. And if your formula works, champion that formula. Take the air out of the ball, slow it down, force teams to really grind to score points on you, have great red zone defensive consistency so that teams can push deep, but they're not going to score touchdowns. Do what you do. Take your formula and champion it. And I think that's what we have to start thinking about with this New York Giants team and raise the expectations.
All right, it's 10:09 on the Fan. Tiki and Tierny here inside of our Town Fair Tire studio. Our friends at Town Fair remind you that you always get the guaranteed lowest price on name brand tires from Connecticut to Maine. Nobody beats Town Fair Tire. Nobody. Now, the way this thing started, and I'll take us back really to the first, when we were doing our show out at Giants camp, right? I'll start from that point forward. It was a blank canvas. We were optimistic. We loved, and we were imploring the Giants to please leave the organization, bring some new blood in here, man. And there was a point where we didn't know if Mara was going to do that. They did, and we loaded them for that, no doubt. But it was a blank canvas. And when you have a blank canvas, there's this renewed energy, this hope, this optimism. And then the optimism was backed up by these early surprising results, okay? But you're right. You get to the point of the season, and we're here now. It's got to stop being about the little cute story, the story of overachievement, even if it applies, the little engine that could. Listen, don't take this the wrong way, Giant fans. If you don't win this weekend, you're not going to the playoffs. Because the Giants are, I'm sorry, Tiki, but the Giants are a couple of weeks away from a real dose of reality in terms of how, not a diss, just an acknowledgement, how far they are away from being, in terms of talent, not coaching, not direction, talent, from the other top teams in football. And eventually, you got to go to Dallas. Eventually, you're going to have to play the Eagles, not once, but twice. We can laugh at the Commanders all we want. They ain't bad.
Yeah.
They ain't bad.
No, you're right.
So and then, of course, you got the Lions after the Texans, but the Lions can score some points, so I don't even say that that's an absolute gimme. If the Giants don't win this game, which, by the way, I think that they will, but if they don't, they're not going to the playoffs.
Well, you're probably right about that, and I don't want to hear that, but you're probably right about that.
I don't want to say it, but it is what it is.
The Texans. Let's face it. You're supposed to beat the Texans. I don't care how hard Lovie Smith has these guys playing. You're supposed to beat the Texans. Then you play the Detroit Lions. Take the air out of the ball. Force them to earn every single yard because they can score points if you try to keep up with them. Beat the Detroit Lions, and then those two games are at home. By the way, then I didn't think I was paying much attention to this as much as I should. When you talk about the Cowboys entering this conversation, they play the Cowboys on Thanksgiving, right? It's a Thursday night game. That's a prime. That's when you announce yourself to the rest of the league,
or get proven to be a bit fraudulent,
or that. But I'm trending optimistic, BT. I'm off.
I just mean the general. By the way, I'm not even saying just about the Giants.
I'm off of my.
Yeah, well, it's about time.
Let's just go play well down in
Finally.
Dallas. Let's just keep it a close game.
Good.
Now, forget that. If they go into the next couple of weeks with the same type of coaching acumen that we've seen at the beginning of this season, with the same type of patience, and they're going to make mistakes, and they might get down in games, but they're going to find ways to fight their way back and re-game plan at halftime and come away with victories. Then all of a sudden, this Giants team gets to Dallas. And the Commanders, and then the Philadelphia Eagles, and then the Commanders again, and then probably by then the 10-win Minnesota Vikings, and you got to start saying to yourself, they may have better records than us, but they're not better than us. That's the mentality you got to start thinking about from a Giant standpoint.
So what I find interesting, so I know you had an appearance last night. You're out in Hoboken, hanging out with a bunch of Giant fans watching the game with Superbook, right?
Yep.
So you came in today. You said, "Man, it's amazing." We were talking before the show how And we've gotten this on the phones, but it's always a little more,
it's different when it's
unfiltered
real.
in person,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, having a couple drinks.
Yeah, I was going to say,
like,
beers flowing. Yeah. And you told me Giant fans, like the reversal in conviction with Daniel Jones is pretty interesting.
It's awesome. I mean, it's kind of awesome. Like, we've not known, but we met Daniel when he was still in college, and he came here, and it was like, dude, we love that kid. Man, remember we had him, and he had that Danny Dimes rookie season. It's like, dude, this kid could be the guy. And then all of a sudden, it got really ugly for Daniel Jones. Injuries, the turnover started to accumulate, both interceptions and fumbles, and almost everybody I talked to was out on Daniel Jones. Like, none of my friends were like, yeah, maybe there's something to salvage in there. There was none of that. And then all of a sudden, you get the right coach, you get the right kind of situation around him. We know he's a grinder. Right, we know he works his ass off. We know he's first guy in the building, last guy to leave type. Mm-hmm. He's one of the best athletes on the team, not the best athlete on the team. Like, we know he's that guy. But it took success. It took winning for Giants fans to start seeing what they saw when he was a rookie again. And it is amazing. For 2 years, it was get rid of Daniel Jones. We got to find somebody else. Whoever else it is, I don't care, but we got to get rid of him. To now, man, this guy could be our franchise quarterback. Not that he's elite, but he could be the guy to take us where we need to go because he wins and he's not making mistakes and he's dynamic in the new way that offenses have to be dynamic in the NFL. That is run when you need to, make the critical throws when you have to, and put your team in position to win. You can't discount the 5 come-from-behind wins that he already has this season. The Giants have 6. 5 of them were come from behind, and it was all led by Daniel Jones.
I just worry, come from behind wins aside. It's a great stat. It speaks to a slower
but
heartbeat.
the fact that you have to come from behind,
I mean, like,
it portends ugly things.
For the way they're set up now, it does. Like, if it's not. I don't think it's going to happen this weekend. But against one of the better teams, what if you fall behind 24-10? 21-7. I mean, and less about Jones and more about what might not be around them.
But you know what's
interesting? Do they have the
interesting?
horses to come back?
But you know what's interesting? With this Giants team, 14 points doesn't scare me.
See, to me it does. Against a good team, it does.
Three scores scares me.
Yeah.
But 2 doesn't scare me.
But against a good team, for me, it does. I don't think they're equipped to win that way, which is why the McKinney injury, I'm not saying he's an all-pro, but he's good.
Yeah.
And things change a little bit. So if that and I asked Tiki this the other day, if the defense, softens 7, 8, 9% in his absence, he might miss the whole season, by the way. It's not a game. It's at least 4, could be the rest of the season. But his absence, it's perceptible. It's quantifiable with the stats, even if it's not a complete reversal.
Yes,
but you miss him. Do they have the horses to make up the difference? And I say, no, that's not a knock on the Giants. I don't like their receivers. I mean, they're just not good. They're C-level receivers. And I got Carl Banks, who I love telling me Kenny Galladay's not washed yesterday. Yeah, he is. He's washed. Until proven otherwise, he's washed. So it remains, Teak, the margin of error is razor thin. And let's go. But my guy Barber's finally saying, let's go. None of this, no. He wants wins. He needs wins. He's calling for wins, which means we're fired up. All right, guys. By the way, at 11:20 and 12:20 today, Giants tickets, we'll give them away. 877-337-6666. It is obviously Veterans Day, so we salute you. We respect you. We honor you, and we absolutely thank you. All the best. Love you.
100%. Thank you for your service.
That's right. And your grandfather served, and I've got some members of my family as well. So it's probably the toughest thing to do in terms of a profession. Now, you sign on for it, but it is not easy. And too many people don't get the thanks they deserve. So you better believe that we appreciate what you guys do. And ladies, of course. All right, so we got you till 2. It is a football Friday, so we have to squeeze in later. 4 or 5 minutes. Let me tell you something right now. We have some of the ugliest women at WFAN. And they're not even women. They're us. Did you see this circus? I mean, but I got to tell you, in a weird way, we got a couple hotties. I don't know. It sounds crazy to say that. What in the world is going on with those memes? You guys know what I'm talking about. We'll get to that later. Tiki and Tierny on the Fan.